welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I have a recipe for you for some super delicious, totally cheap, and very impressive looking summery blueberry pie. Alright, if you're new here, I'm Claire. My channel is all about mom stuff, lady stuff, and life stuff. So definitely hit that subscribe button down below if you're into any of that. If you're not new here, thank you so much for coming back and for checking this recipe out. Now this time of year, it is the end of July. We're going into August pretty soon. Blueberries are in season. They are super cheap. Today, all the ingredients are from my favorite store, Aldi. I find the best deal on literally everything there. So this is perfect if you are in the mood for a delicious summery pie, but you don't want to work really hard, because that's me. So yes, all of the prices that I will be telling you for what I paid for everything are from my local mid-Michigan Aldi. Of course, prices vary wherever you are, and if you don't shop at Aldi, you might pay a little bit more, but all these ingredients can be found basically anywhere. I will leave a link to the full recipe in the description down below. So yeah, let's get started on this pie. This pie only has 8 ingredients. You'll need a box of pie crusts, you'll need a lemon, some cinnamon, we also have an egg, some brown sugar, we have flour, heavy whipping cream, but you could also use milk, and of course some blueberries. Alright, we're going to start with these pie crusts. These are great. They are always available at Aldi. They come 2 in a box, which is exactly what we are going to be needing. And they are only $1.49 for the pair. And these are not frozen, they're just been in the fridge, so they're chilled. And I've just put a little bit of flour on my surface so that it doesn't stick. And I'm just gonna roll this out till it's about 1/8 of an inch thick. It did take a little bit of rolling to get it to be large enough. I'm using a 9-inch pie dish today, and you'll want it to hang over the side, just about 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch. I'm using butter to grease my dish. You could also use Pam or oil or shortening or whatever you have laying around to make sure your pie does not stick. Now I'm going to carefully transfer the pie crust to the dish. I'm just going to press it down and also trim any of the edges. And I'm actually going to cover it with some saran wrap or plastic wrap and stick it in the fridge for about 30 minutes. The point here is we want to keep it nice and chilled. We don't want it to become mushy at all. I couldn't tell you the science on why that is, but that's what the internet says, so that's what I'm doing. Now I'm going to roll the other pie crust out in the same way. This one I'm going to use as the lattice on top. You don't have to do a lattice, you can just put the top one on. Also, I've seen all sorts of really interesting videos of people who do really fancy things on the tops of pies. I've just decided to do the simple lattice, and I'm using this ruler. Actually, it's from my fabric. I'm making my strips 1.5 inches across because I just think like a fat lattice looks really nice, but you could make them thinner or thicker, whatever floats your boat. They don't have to be perfect. It'll look really nice, you know, whatever you kind of choose to do, whatever your pie aesthetic is. And now I'm just going to do the same thing with them as I did with the base pie crust. I'm just going to pop it in the fridge and make sure they stay nice and chilly. And now it's time for our filling. I have a lemon here. Actually, this is half a lemon. We're going to use 1 tablespoon of lemon juice, which is perfectly from half of this lemon. The lemons at Aldi, I actually had to buy a whole bag of them, which is not super ideal, but I will use them. They were $3.69 for a bag of 8 lemons, and because I only used half a lemon, we're going to go ahead and add 23 cents to our total. Next, I've got my cream. We are going to add 2 tablespoons, which comes out to a whopping 10 cents because this whole carton was only $1.55. And the original recipe called to use a whisk for this, and I actually tried that once and it just clumped up into a giant doughy ball, like stuck inside the whisk. So while the recipe says whisk it, I used a fork and it worked way better. Now I'm going to add my flour. You're going to need 4 tablespoons of this. Flour at Aldi is so cheap, you guys. This whole thing was $1.15. So 4 tablespoons out of a container this large only cost me 2 pennies. And I'm mixing it up and it looks really doughy, and at first I thought, like, what is this recipe having me do? But it works out, I promise. Next, I'm going to add some cinnamon. The cinnamon is only 95 cents. Most of their spices are 95 cents at Aldi. I'm just putting in half a teaspoon, and this came out to less than a penny. Now we're going to add our brown sugar. We're gonna put a half a cup of this in, and the brown sugar is only $1.29 for this package. So it only came out to 13 cents for the half a cup. So a great deal. And as I started mixing this, it turned from more of a dough consistency into more of a paste, and so it made a lot more sense to me. All right, now it's time to add these berries. The recipe calls for 5 cups of fresh berries, or roughly 2.5 pints. I got a great deal on these today. They were $1.19 a pint for a total of $2.98 for all of these berries. Obviously, you can get them cheaper sometimes or more expensive. It really depends on the time of year and where you are located. I often can get them this time of year, like for a 10 for 10 deal. But I did think that $1.19 a pint was really great. I just made sure that I picked out any that were like funky and green or had stems on them, just so that the most beautiful berries made it in. Now I'm just stirring them all together, and the recipe says to let them sit for about 5 minutes in this mixture, so I went ahead and did that too. You'll need your oven preheated to 400 degrees, and you want one of your racks to be completely on the bottom and one rack to be in the center, and you'll also want to put a cookie sheet or a stone on your bottom rack. Now is where our egg comes into play. We are going to use this as an egg wash. You need to combine it with 1 tablespoon of water. The eggs were 98 cents a dozen this week, which brings us to 8 whopping cents for that egg wash. The eggs fluctuate quite a bit at my Aldi, but 98 cents is still a good deal. So now I've got the bottom pie crust, and I am just filling it and smoothing it out. Super simple, super easy. And now I am using my egg wash all along the edges, and I'm using my finger because I do not own a pastry brush, you guys. So after this adventure, I decided I do need to buy one. So if you have a good brand or one that you suggest, make sure you leave it in the comments. Now I'm going to do my lattice. What you do is you pull opposite ones back and you lay a strip, and then you relay them. Gosh, this is a weird thing to try to explain, but just watch the video. You just alternate back and forth. I actually did a quick YouTube search on how to lattice easily before I did this, just to be sure that I didn't do anything real wonky, and I think it worked out really well. If you had thinner strips, you might have some bigger gaps where the berries are showing. That's totally fine. You can really just do this however you like. And I thought it looked really pretty. I was pretty impressed at how simple it was. So I'm just gonna cut any super long bits of the strips off, and then I'm going to tuck them underneath the crust. There are lots of really fancy ways of crimping or pinching your crust. I just did very simple pinches because this was really my first time doing this, so I just went with a simple one, but you can really get crazy with your pies, man. After you're done with this video, just do a YouTube search on that and you will be happy you did. Now I'm just sprinkling some of this brown sugar on top, but what I forgot is that you're supposed to egg wash it first. So I egg washed it second, and I don't think it really made any difference at all. But yet again, here I am cursing myself for not buying a pastry brush ever, but I will now after today, I promise. You'll never have to watch me do this again. Alright, now that that's done, I am going to pop it on that lower rack, and it is going to bake at that 400 degrees for 20 minutes. And after 20 minutes, take it out, and you're gonna wanna wrap foil around the edges. And this is so they don't burn. They do make these little pie guards that you can just throw on there, but you guys, I don't even have a pastry brush. You know I don't got a pie guard. So I just use foil, because you can totally do that too. And you're gonna pop it in there on the top rack after that for 30 to 40 minutes. And ooh, that baby was bubbling. It looked so amazing. It looked like something that would be in a bakery. I can't believe I made it myself. And now, of course, because everybody knows pie is best with vanilla ice cream, this is also from Aldi. This tub of ice cream was only $1.95, but is totally optional. You could throw some, I don't know, whipped cream on that too. And this pie was super hot when I served it, so it was a little bit liquidy inside, but it was so, so good, you guys. I couldn't believe the flavor in there. It wasn't overpoweringly sweet. It really just emphasized the flavor of the actual blueberry and not just a bunch of sugar. It was really, really good. And it did firm up quite a bit. When we got slices later in the night, of course, after the kids went to bed, they kept their shape a little bit better. All right, you guys, that's it for this pie. It really made everyone in the family very happy. My husband was very impressed. I've actually never baked a pie before, so this was a very impressive looking pie. He like couldn't believe that I made it. And of course, he doesn't have to know that it was very cheap and very easy. If you had been counting all of the dollars and the cents as I went along, the total cost for this pie was $5.03. Which is an insane deal. Like, you couldn't even go to McDonald's and buy like a McDonald's pie for everyone in your family for $5. Like, that's a great deal. There is no reason that you can't show up to your next family event or to treat your own family and have to spend, you know, an arm and a leg on it. Like, that's crazy. So please let me know what you think in the comments down below. Will you be trying this fruit pie? What are your favorite types of pies? I kind of really dug doing this today, so maybe there are more pies in my future. So let me know what your favorites are, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye!